style, the aesthetics of that console,
it lives on today.
I mean, the Switch is very similar to what the Game Gear wanted to be.
Oh, totally. And
like even the the handheldness of it.
What about the Sega Nomad?
I never played it.
It was a portable Sega Genesis that you could plug into your TV and you could plug extra controllers into. It was literally a Nintendo Switch.
Wow.
When was that released,
for the Sega Genesis? It was
like during the Genesis.
It was around the time, and I remember this because I just remember being at Toys R Us and they had it on display. It was around the same time that Nintendo 64 was out. So that means it was around 95, 96.
It's 95.
Yeah.
God damn. That's crazy. By the way, I don't give a fuck. We're going to keep talking until we're fucking done talking about this shit. So yeah, so that is the fucking... And I feel it's the Genesis SNES kind of...
Well, and one more crazy thing I wanted to mention was the Game Gear had like a TV tuner on it. You could watch TV. Yeah, you could...
What the fuck? No,
not built into it, but you could buy one that plugs in as a cartridge and was a TV. Like you could watch over-the-air television.
Fucking Genesis was literally... Sega was just killing it at the time.
Yeah. They
were so innovative.
So this was like 94, right?
Yeah, they might have expanded. 94. They might have had too much innovation for their own good, if you think about it.
But crazy. Game Gear was 1990, but it lasted until at least that long. It wasn't discontinued until 97.
Jesus fuck.
So Sonic came 91.
Yeah, so Game Gear was before Sonic.
Wow.
That blows my mind, right?
That blows my mind as well. That's nuts. And yeah, I don't know. I played a fair amount of Game Gear. Like I did like that console. I still have mine as well. But I think one thing that I'm like really excited to talk about is when things changed from that 2D
to actual
3D, like
32 to 64-bit.
Even when it was just like a shit ton of polygons on the screen.
When polygons like entered the fray, was when shit got exciting.
Well, it's so crazy to me. Like now, so like I'm a software developer by trade. God, that sounds so stupid. But I'm a software developer, and like I never like thinking about it now. We like the public talked about polygons, which if you think about it is like coding stuff you need to know about when making a game.
But I mean, that was a basic thing. What you would like, how many polygons are on the screen? That's how you would measure a game back then.
Like that's how you would measure like graphics cards and things like that. I mean, I realize that's technical specs regardless, but it's just insane to me to like think about that.
People don't even like. It's not even a conversation anymore.
Yeah, it's
like,
not.
The gamers of today don't worry about polygons.
We're now worrying about how much VR can we do in the pornographic industry.
Yeah, now it's more like resolutions. Like, can I have 8K boobs in my face?
Right.
He gets it. Why don't you, Fred?
Does the character's ass jiggle?
Okay, now we're all on the same page.
Does the jacket blow in the wind? Does the hair,
Give each other a round of applause. We've come full circle. Chewy's looking like, why is everybody clapping? I'm trying to fucking sleep.
We're clapping for you.
He literally just, that's his face. He's like, fucking stop.
But yeah, like we're looking at way different things now. Lighting. I mean, lighting.
Oh, dude, I remember when, and we'll get to this, sorry, but just real quick, I want to mention, then we'll go on to PlayStation. When Half-Life released can you look it up, Brandon?
Episode 1?
No, it was before episode 1. It was that like island where you went on. It was a little expansion thing, but they pretty much
used.
No. Fucking Blue Shift. That was fucking way, but it was after Half-Life 2. It was before episode 1. They wanted to show off their lighting effects. From like the sun and how it reflected and shadowing and everything like that. And pretty much they used this as a tech demo, but it was like semi-playable like level that they just released for free on Steam.
I'm looking.
Oh, this son of a bitch. Fucking Jamie's always on it on the Rob Borland show. What the fuck's his name? Rob Borland?
No, it's Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. He's the guy from
Lost Coast.
Lost Coast, that's what it was. Joe Rogan. He's the guy from the news radio show.
Yeah, he was on News Radio. He played like the janitor? He played the janitor on News Radio?
No, he was playing like somebody there. He was on News Radio. He was trying to hook up with that one hot chick.
He was the electrician and handyman.
God damn.
I know him even more so from Fear Factor and then UFC.
Motherfucker, obviously. All that is after.
See, but that's
radio.
when I started to notice.
He was
an electrician. Which... Do they have those at buildings? Like just
I mean, we have the fucking Scott and Simon are our building engineer.
We don't need to talk about this. Cut this.
Cut that shit. I'm just saying, like, that's a fucking thing. No one fucking cares. God damn it. Cut everything.
Moving on.
Start over.
Okay.
So Half-Life 2 Lost Coast. That's what it was.
Half-Life 2 Lost Coast. It was their demo to lighting. So yeah, lighting effects was huge even like 5 or 10 years ago, and now it's just gotten to the point where
that was 2004.
Holy shit, that was
14 years.
That was almost 15 years ago. That's insane to me because I remember looking at that lighting like, oh, that's cool. Now, like, shit is 4K and HD 4K and high
and
def,
there's like bloom.
hyper 4K.
You just call it HD 4K?
Hyper 4K, whatever the fuck you call it. I don't care. I can't keep up. I can't keep up.
So let's go back to the days where lighting was not a thing.
Yeah. PlayStation 1. Okay, this was a console that was my fucking console finally.
Yeah.
That was the generation. And you had an N64, Brandon.
No,
at some point. Later, yeah.
Wait, I never owned it in 64.
Yes, you did. Or I fucking did.
You did.
Let's
Where the fuck did I get it?
First, let's pin down a year here. It was 95?
95 was PlayStation.
Seems like 95. We didn't have one for a long time.
No. So Justin got one right away. Our brother
semi
Justin.
Right away.
He got it because I remember we were going into
94.
We were going to the mall and we went to Optique, something up.
I don't know, man.
Boutique, something.
Electronic
It was
boutique.
Electronic Boutique.
EB.
Yeah, but wait, maybe there's something else. There's another fucking.
There's Babbage's.
No, it was Electronic Boutique.
Okay, so we went to Electronic Boutique and I saw like Mortal Kombat 3 poster and I was like, this looks fucking cool. And then I found out, it's coming out for the PlayStation 1. Justin got the PlayStation and remember the demo with the goddamn dinosaur?
Yeah, I do remember. What was that demo?
It was just a specs demo, pretty much saying like, here's what the PlayStation can do. Look at these polygons. It was just a dinosaur that would just walk around. You could turn him and just look at him.
And Ridge Racer came with it.
Ridge Racer, fucking. You had to race the black car and beat him to get the black car, and it was fucking took forever.
And the black car was the fastest car on that game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, Ridge Racer was fun.
It was.
It was what? What are you about to say?
Progressive.
Very it's so fucking dumb. All I'm trying to say is PlayStation was mine. What do you think about the PlayStation?
Yeah, interesting enough, the PlayStation 1 for me was a lot of 2D games as well as 3D games. Rayman was a big one. And to me, one of my...
I know you love Rayman.
Well, it all started with the PlayStation 1, with the original Rayman on PlayStation 1. Because, so there was also a version on the Sega Saturn that wasn't quite as good. It didn't have all the animation and it didn't have all the like kind of interactivity that the PlayStation 1 had. I think a lot of the gameplay was fine for it, but the PlayStation
it was to 2D games. I feel at the time, what like we're seeing now with Braid and fucking Limbo and stuff like that. I feel like that was like taking 2D to the next level was Rayman, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And games like Darkstalkers also took games like Street Fighter to the next level. Like, did you play Darkstalkers?
Yeah. With the chick with the fucking the bat wings. Yeah.
And Felicia, the cat girl. Yeah. There's the Mummy. There are a lot of really iconic.
Let me tell you something crazy. So my first experience with PlayStation, I don't know how I got. I guess I got a PlayStation like a year or two after my dickhead brother did. I feel bad saying that, but like he was a huge dick when it came to me and Brandon playing it all. He was like, "This is don't you come in my room, don't you play my shit." I was like, "Man, that's really fucked up." He would let me eventually, but it took a while. He was a real prick at first.
All right.
Eventually, I got my own PlayStation, and the game I really wanted was Tekken 1. And my parents used to fuck with me, and they were like, "For Christmas, we're going to get you that Rayman game." And I was like, damn well I don't want Rayman, I want Tekken. And so Tekken was my first. Well, what's so cool? The reason I thought Tekken was great was it was a actual 3D fighter, and it to me was, I guess, pretty much saying that like it was an actual like you move around in the 3D realm. It wasn't just like
it was an 8-way run game.
There you go. This is why I keep you around with the fucking. The terminology. But I always thought it was cool because whenever you knock a motherfucker out or knock him down, smoke comes up off the ground like dust.
That was the feature.
That was what I thought was so fucking cool. So Tekken was the first game on PlayStation for me. So Rayman was your first game.
Well, I don't know.
Or that you remember, at least.
I mean, that was one of the big ones. I was actually really into demo discs on PlayStation 1, and I still have, a lot. I probably have a dozen demo discs.
That was the thing. Like, I used to subscribe to PlayStation Magazine, and I talked to my mom the other day. It was probably like a month back. And I go, "Hey, Mom, remember you used to get me a subscription to PlayStation Magazine? And it came with a demo disc, and it was so great, and I used to love it." And she goes, "Oh, I think I just did that because my coworker's kid was selling magazines. I need to buy something." And I was like, well, fuck you, Mom. I appreciate the gesture.
She built a childhood.
Yeah, she built my fucking childhood on it. So thank you.
The crazy thing for me, the first game I remember playing on PlayStation was before we had our own that we shared. It was when it was still just our older brother. And we would sneak into his room while he was at work. Because at that time, he was like 16.
I was just telling Fred, like, he was a kind of...
I know.
Well, the audience does not know that you went to go take a piss. You did. That's the fucking magic of radio.
Cut.
No, you don't need to cut it. Just keep it. It's fucking real. It's raw.
But
it's what's happening.
But continue. Resident Evil was the first game that I played. I played the first Resident Evil on his PlayStation a lot.
That's right.
That was the first game I played. That's not the longest game I played, but it's definitely the first.
I remember that shitty cover where it looked like a fucking spider going over. And it was Chris Redfield with these stupid bugly eyes.
Yeah. What was your longest playing game though? We said first. What's your longest playing game on PlayStation?
I would say
on PlayStation.
To play maybe Spyro 1.
Well, first let me just go back real quick and just backtrack. My first game was probably actually D, if anyone remembers that. It's just the letter D. It was much like Myst or Riven, if you remember those games. They were kind of like...
It was more like adventure, like just looking at stuff.
Yeah, it was like cinematic.
I remember seeing the cover of this game. It came out in 95.
What about
it was also on 3DO, apparently.
Yeah.
Do you remember Kalik?
No.
That was the very first game I think our brother played.
Kalik.
And do you remember Kalik? It was a first-person game, K-I-L, I don't know, fucking leak. Kalik, it was like, there was a weird, like, science experiment going wrong. It was like weird mutations and shit like that.
I don't remember that at all.
Fuck it up! You're our fucking Jamie over here. Is that copyright infringement that we keep mentioning the Joe Rogan podcast?
I don't think so.
Okay, fuck he's not going to sue us.
I remember Blood Omen Legacy of Kain as well.
We mentioned Legacy of Kain a couple weeks ago, and we said that that's a franchise that needs to come back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Kalik the Blood, is that it? Kalik
the Blood. Yeah, that was like, when it came out, 95? That was one of the, I think that was one of the...
Oh, no, it's Kalik the DNA Imperative.
Yes, that was what it was.
I've never sseen this game in my life.
Justin played it all the fucking time.
95.
Yeah, it was one of the ones that came out with the PlayStation. I can't believe I remember that name. But
so Spyro, you played Spyro like crazy?
Spyro like a motherfucker. Really? The OGs. I'm so happy they're remaking Spyro. They're remaking from the ground up the first 3, right, Fred?
Yeah. They're gonna do a trilogy, just
and they're gonna eventually
Crash Bandicoot trilogy.
They're eventually gonna release it on Switch. So I'll be happy about that.
That wasn't your favorite game though. What was your favorite game on PlayStation?
I will get to that in a second. But also, I want to say what I played a lot. I played a lot of Crash and I played a lot of Spyro. Crash and Spyro were like. That was when Sony finally got their Sonic and Mario. Mm-hmm. They're like, pretty much it was Crash. I remember the commercials where Crash would go, like a little mascot version of Crash would go to the Nintendo headquarters or whatever, and he was just like on the megaphone talking shit to them.
Well, that's a crazy... You know why? I mean, everyone knows the story at this point, but like, Sony, Sega CD we talked about last generation, but like Sony was like, oh, we'll make you a SNES CD. And Nintendo was like, cool, let's do that. Yeah. And then they made it, and Nintendo's like, nah, never mind. We're going to team up with Panasonic on something else we're doing. And Sony was like, what the hell? And there's like a really good story I remember. I forget what it was on, like, I don't know, Fortune or something, where it was talking about there was a VP at Sony who was like, we should just release this as our own console. Please do this. And he convinced the board and everyone to release this. And that's how they got into gaming. And now they're like, sort of number one.
They're on top, yeah.
Well, they're on top right now. They're trying to be dickheads.
If you don't count Steam.
Yeah, I don't.
And if you don't count crossplay. We won't get into that.
Or cross progression, even.
Yeah. No, we know anyway. Okay, so...
Games that we played most of.
I mean, the one I love the most is going to be probably a lot of people's favorite that they love.
Well, hold on. What was Fred's one longest?
It's hard to pick a one longest because I was so into fighting games that I split my time between everything from Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Soul Blade, Rival Schools, Bloody Roar 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3. I mean, Mortal Kombat Trilogy. There was so much. I think there was a lot more on PlayStation, the original PlayStation, than we even realized.
I feel like I can't even crack the surface of this because there's so many. For me, it was either Final Fantasy VII.
I was gonna fucking say Final Fantasy VII, you asshole.
Yeah, actually,
it wasn't even my game, right?
I remember
he's a fucking dick.
When I beat Final Fantasy VII, I had put 85 hours into it, and multiple times getting there my save data was wiped.
Oh, wow.
So I had to have put a lot more time than that.
So,
Yeah,
Ryan.
I got that shit for my fucking birthday in 97 when it came out. I remember the year and everything. I went and played it a little bit before school.